StudentPreneur, the podcast about students who are entrepreneurs. Get motivated and keep your energy high. Stories from studentpreneurs.
Welcome to episode 24. My name is Julian Marchand, entrepreneur turned PhD student. Each week, a student who is also an entrepreneur shares his or her story with you to get you motivated on your own business. If you enjoyed the episode, hit subscribe on your podcast player or on studentpreneur.com.au so you get every single episode. In this episode, I interview Steinar, the 2015 Global Student Entrepreneur of the Year, and check out what it takes. All right, so today we've got Steinar Henskes with us. Steinar is 24 and he's studying at the University of Amsterdam. He's doing a Bachelor of Business and Administration, and he's also running his own company called Bird Control Group, and is achieving revenue of 6 figures. Do you want to tell us a bit more about your company and about yourself, Steinar?
Yes, well, I'm 24 years old, born in the Netherlands in a town called Haarlem, which is next to Amsterdam. Started off as an entrepreneur when I was 18 years old. I had 2 companies before Bird Control Group. And well, as you mentioned, currently I'm very busy running that company. And Bird Control Group prevent conflicts between humans and birds. We keep them at safe distance from commercial activities using our own laser technology.
Laser,
birds,
okay.
Yep. The birds perceive the laser beam as a physical danger. So by moving the laser beam towards them, they get scared and they fly away. It's really a physical object. And well, we currently have customers in more than 70 countries around the world.
Sorry, did you say 70?
Yeah, I did say 70. Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks.
Typically, your customers are airports, I think, and others?
It depends. We are in different markets. We're, for example, in aviation. So airports are a customer. But we're also in the oil and gas sector, which means the oil and gas companies are our customers. But we also have clients in the agricultural sector and fishing industry. Also, industrial sites and factories is a segment we're active in. So it's very neat if we talk about birds, but it's quite broad in terms of the different industries where we are active.
And different needs and different type of customers. That's cool. You said you got started at 18, but did you do anything before in high school, like, selling stuff to your friends or stuff like that, or you just happened to start a business at 18?
Yeah, I at high school I wasn't very much of a businessman. I was totally focused on my sports career. I did a lot of judo. Yeah. So I wasn't really into business, but when I started off as an entrepreneur, I did realize that running a company and being an entrepreneur is very much alike as being a sports athlete. So I did have quite some experience, but not really on the business side, more of I would say the motivations and ambitions of a sporting career, which I now use in my entrepreneurial career.
So you wanted to become a professional athlete?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So how old were you when you studied judo?
I started off when I was 4 years old. So,
wow. Okay.
Very little kid.
So then the focus was... So competitions, I guess, national competition?
That's right, but also international ones. So I traveled a lot to Germany, to France, England, Austria. So I did a fair bit of traveling in Europe.
Wow. So hang on. So how did you decide to stop your career as an athlete and go to entrepreneurship? I mean, that's a tough decision.
Yeah, it was. Basically, what happened when I was about 18 years old, I had the choice, okay, do I want to aim for a professional career as an athlete? So that's what I set my goals to. So I decided after high school that I wanted to take 1 year off from studying to try to get to that level. But next to doing a lot of trainings, I also had to had some other daytime activities. So at first I started off working at a call center. I had to sell telephone subscriptions. I learned a lot from it, but it wasn't very interesting. I really had the feeling I had more skills than the manager. So that actually made me to decide to start my own company.
Oh, no way. So that little job made you decide to start your own business.
Exactly, yeah. And if I might had like a very inspiring, very high professional manager, I might not even be an entrepreneur. But it started off as me having the feeling, hey, I can do better than you. So I started off with an online store in wireless networking equipment. I also sold like motorbike parts online, all different kind of stuff. And I also sold lasers. So I was a distributor of laser technology in the Netherlands.
But why those products?
Well, I was just interested in general in technology. And I just saw opportunities down there because there weren't any like real distributors or resellers or good distribution channels where you could buy the stuff. And I just had a feeling, okay, there should be a market for it. So start off really small, and all those three different things took off a little bit. We did some sales, and I learned a lot from that period, if I look back.
But the goal was just to pay the bills to allow you to focus on your sport, right?
That's right. Yeah, okay. I didn't had like the feeling I was going to dominate the world or anything. It was just, let's get things going and just have some nice earnings when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. So it was nice. It was just, no pressure, just learning a lot of stuff and discovering, the entrepreneur side of life.
Because you had to find suppliers and you had to deal with ordering time and stuff like that. And then you build a website. And did you use eBay or anything? Or
no, not really. I used my own website. So I learned a lot about the different e-commerce platforms like OS Commerce, Zencard, Magento, and also WooCommerce, which was really nice. I always wanted to be able to do some, I would say, website building. So I learned how to do HTML, CSS, a little bit of PHP. I learned how to, manage orders, manage a website, stuff like that.
So you were doing everything yourself?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
I would definitely not do that again. I really get some other people around me. But in the beginning, it was all by myself, and I wanted to do it all by myself, actually.
And you thought that was a normal way to make enough money for you to be an athlete, like spend the time on developing everything. Wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what happened at the end of that year of being off university?
Well, basically, I wasn't able to make it to that level of European championships. So then I decided to just spend another year being an entrepreneur and figure out what I wanted to do and what I wanted to study. So after that year, I decided to study for the business administration. But I also discovered another thing. Based on the experience I have with laser technology, I discovered that the birds perceive certain laser technology differently. They perceive it as a physical danger. So I saw a big opportunity to build my company around it and to really, let's say, move from being just a distributor to more of a real company, a problem solver. So I sold my other businesses of like the online web shops for laser distribution, for the motor parts, but also for the wireless networking equipment to really focus on this opportunity with the birds.
So that those businesses were doing okay if you were able to sell them then?
Yeah, they were doing all right. Yeah, I didn't make a lot of money or anything.
But you didn't lose money?
No, that's true. And my opinion was, okay, I can just quit it. Let's say shut down the whole activities, or I can try to monetize the value I created. And that last thing I wanted to do. So I sold it to the competitors, actually.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
Because the money was really in like the list of customers, the contact details, a little bit about the platform, about the domain names, which was all right. So, I just thought it was not a very good idea to just quit it from one day or another. I did wanted to, let's say, sell it. And I'm quite happy with that because you do get, although it's very small, you get some experience with doing like transactions on that side, just a little bit of negotiations and think about value of your company.
No, that's right. Yeah, you're right. It's a good learning stage. And so You said you discovered that laser had an effect on birds, but I don't understand. How do you discover this? Like, you go on Wikipedia, you read it? Like, you're not a scientist. I mean,
no, that's right. I'm not like a real scientist, but for me it was just trial and error. I was shining some lasers out of the window of my house, and in the Netherlands there are always a lot of geese coming in, which pose problems. And next to my house was like a grass field, and well, as soon as the birds saw the laser beam, they took off, and I was like, "Hey, this is strange. It's just light. I'm pointing it towards them, and they get scared. What's happening?"
It was just random.
Yep.
It was. That's amazing. So do you have to aim at them, or they just need to see the laser?
Well, I do need to, let's say, aim on them a bit. We don't need to hit their eyes, but we do need to become very close to the birds with the laser beam. So I was just pointing it in the group of the geese, and that's what made them to go.
Oh yeah, of course, because you probably scared a couple, and then they started taking off, and the whole flock took off at the same time with them. Oh yeah, and then from there you realized you could do a business.
Yeah, I thought, okay, wow, I know quite some few stuff about lasers, about the technology. Instead of distributing standardized laser products, I decided, okay, this is an opportunity to develop my own. Well, really set my own prices, build a brand, and also solve a problem. I always wanted to do business internationally.
Okay.
I wanted to impact the world. Aviation is something which interests me a lot. So all those ingredients together made me decide to actually really go for it and develop my own product, specifically for the needs of farmers, which suffer from a lot of bird damages.
Okay, so you started with farmers. Okay, so that's people you can actually talk to quite easily, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's easy. It is the needs and the demands and the requirements are just very much lower compared to aviation, for example. So it was very easy for us to start in that market.
Yeah. And so did you have a designer or somebody that worked with you to design the solution?
Yeah, that was actually the moment that I got some other people involved. So I hired some freelancers or people who could help me with a bit of design, a bit of manufacturing. And I actually found a contract manufacturer who could make it for me based on my designs.
Based on your design, okay.
Yes, so it became really my product and our design and our intellectual property compared to selling standardized products from somebody else.
But hang on, did you study anything around design in high school?
Not really, no.
Okay.
I did have all this sciencey stuff. So I had physics, I had chemistry, I had math, biology as well. So I was always interested on that side of the subjects on high school. But over there you just develop, I think, your interest instead of really learning a skill. But some really basic physics stuff is something you would learn from, and that's something you would use. But that's just very basic.
But all that time you didn't have any other income because you still had to survive.
Well, the transition was quite gradual.
Okay, yeah.
So it wasn't like on one day or another I sold the other businesses and started the development project. At the end of the development project of that first product, which is called the AgriLaser handheld, I still had my other income. And then when I actually launched the AgriLaser product in the market and saw it being successful, I decided, actually start to think about, hey, what to do with the other businesses. So it was, it was quite of a smooth transition. It was just for me in the beginning, just another opportunity I wanted to go for. But then, in the process, I saw, hey, this is a way bigger opportunity than the other businesses I have.
Definitely. Yeah.
Stores. So I should better focus on one thing instead of doing all kind of different things.
Wow. And so then 2 years of gap year, what did you decide? Did you decide to go back to university or to take another year off? Okay. So you went back?
Yeah, I went back. So I started at the university. And I tried to combine being an entrepreneur with being a student.
But hang on, why going to university? Because like a lot of people will say, oh, you're starting your own business, you're starting to have incomes, like you don't need to go to university. So why did you decide to go to university?
Basically, because I wanted to learn new stuff. I wanted to still have that education. And I wasn't sure if the business was going to succeed. So I still wanted to have that,
just
the
in
backup,
case.
having, the just in case thing of actually completed a real study, a real bachelor degree. So those were my reasons to still do the study.
And it's actually quite a common reason when we ask the other student entrepreneurs, it's always wanting to learn more, but also, just in case the business doesn't work out. Pretty good reason.
Yeah, it is quite common. It's just, divert a bit of risk. But I think right now I'm kind of that stage, okay, the business is doing really well, and why should I finish my studies? So I'm a lot of the time I'm having these thoughts around it, what to do. But yeah, I can totally relate to it. It's just, okay, just to be sure, having the backup, and if you plan it right, it won't cost a lot of time having to study next to your job.
And so that's where you are now. So you're studying and you're running your business.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true.
What skills do you think you transferred from, your first job with your crappy boss, and then building your selling platform, and then building a B2C business, really?
Well, to start with the beginning, I actually learned quite a few things when I was doing the call center job.
Yeah.
I learned about telemarketing, so selling things over the telephone, learn how to really properly do telephone conversations, sales telephone conversations. So that's fun. In those few weeks, I learned quite some things I still use today.
Sorry, you worked there only a few weeks?
Yeah, well, I think about 3 to 4 months.
Okay, wow.
And then as well, running the small online businesses, I learned about, online, about search engine optimization. You learn about general stuff. Okay, how does it work if you have suppliers, if you have customers, you have to keep stock, you have to decide what to purchase, what to not purchase, which prices do work. So you really learn basic stuff. And that was quite useful, because then I really think if you are first-time entrepreneur, you have to learn a lot of general things about doing business. And I think I was quite happy that I actually had that experience before I started off, as I would say, the real adventure with Bird Control Group.
Yeah, no, you're right. On those businesses, even if you fail, you will not lose a lot. Whereas if you were going to make a mistake on your company now, that'll be more painful.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. It just everything is bigger. You have employees. You have higher sales volumes, higher bills to pay. Everything is just bigger. So if you make a mistake, then the impact will also be bigger.
So going back to being the CEO and being a student, do you have a secret weapon on how to manage both?
I think that's on one hand. For me, I would say, business is first, and then being a student is a bit second. So that means I don't go to university to go to classes. I just do the exams and study in my own time. And I think it's also very important to really combine it as much as you can. And also, talk to, let's say, the university as soon as possible, because I think it's important for them to acknowledge what you do, and therefore try to support you in your efforts. Because especially for me, I'm studying business, and I'm also being a businessman in real life. So it's really, it influences each other. And
yes,
maybe the university can help you with, let's say, some allowances, some extra stuff, some special status for you at the university. So I think it's important to just talk to the university, talk about what you do, instead of just try to figure it out yourself.
When you say talk to the university, do you mean talk to your professors or talk to the administration, or talk to all of them, I guess?
I guess more, let's say, in the Netherlands, we have those study advisors, which are people who are, can help you with scheduling and stuff, but can also help you if you have like certain challenges. And one challenge is combining your study with your entrepreneurial career. So I think it's good to talk to them because they are aware of any special programs for.
Yes. And did you have any special program for you that helped you?
No, unfortunately not. It's not something they have in the Netherlands at universities. They do have it at universities of applied sciences. So it's like one level below, but they don't have it at, let's say, the university, which is a bit, bad, I would say. It would be better if they have a program for it, because they do have a program for professional athletes.
Exactly. Oh, that's funny you say that. Yeah. Yeah, because you were a professional athlete, so you've seen the other side. Were you in a special program when you were in high school, for instance?
No, I didn't have to, but I did have the choice to go to, let's say, a university which helps you with that. So let's say a special sport athlete school. But no, I didn't have any special programs. I did had to ask for a few favors a couple of times, but that wasn't very special. That was just, okay, I have a tournament abroad and I need a Friday off because we have to travel.
It's funny you mentioned this because in 2 weeks I'm making a presentation on student entrepreneurs in my university. And in Australia, programs for athletes are huge. It's like really, really huge. So I'm making the comparison that, if you're an athlete in Australia, you will be supported. You will have adapted programs, adaptive time. You can even get scholarship for your studies. If you're an entrepreneur, well, you get nothing.
Yeah. No, and I think there should also be a program for student entrepreneurs.
So you relies on your a little bit on your study advisor, but did you have another type of support? Did you have mentors or your parents, or who helped you through those different stages?
I did had quite some mentors, which were most of them were fellow entrepreneurs I talked to. I think it's very important to have those people around you, and they just help me with like making business plans. They help me with new ideas. They every time they actually broadened my horizon of the things around me and how to look at certain aspects of the business. And it's just really helpful because you cannot do everything by yourself. You should definitely have people around you to talk to about the challenges you have.
And why do you think those people helped you?
Because they're also entrepreneurs themselves. Mm-hmm. So for them, it's really understandable the situations you're in as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I also have like professional companies helping me. And of course, their motivation is a bit more that when you're small and then when they help you for, let's say, free or a very low fee. And when you grow bigger, they hope you still remember that and you have certain projects with them. But so it's a bit of a mix. Sometimes I had like professional service providers acting as a bit of a mentorship. But the most benefit I got from fellow entrepreneurs who just do it because they think it's fun, I guess. And they had the same experience when they were young and inexperienced. They also had their mentors. So it's really about giving back and sharing your experience.
And how did you meet your those fellow entrepreneurs?
A lot of them I met through the Yes Delft network. Yes Delft is the organization which we are in. It's an accelerator program from the Technical University of Delft. And they hold a network of fellow entrepreneurs with whom you can just make an appointment and talk to them and have the cup of coffee for 1 or 2 hours. Or if you want to spend more time, I've actually spent like a complete day with some of the mentors to really dive into the business.
This accelerator is part of the university, or it's just separate from the university?
No, it's part of the university. The university here is owner of the accelerator for 33%. The other owners are like the municipality and a research institute. So it's really focused on technical startups, on like scalable companies which have developed an own technology.
And how did you get in? Was it because you were a student, or other people can get in without being a student?
Other people can get in as well, but you do have to pitch and go through a bit of an let's say, a commission which decides who can join the accelerator and who cannot. So there's a bit of, a bouncer at the door.
No, but that's good. And when, at what stage did you get in? Was it the first year of your business, second?
It was after about 1.5 years of being in business. And I regret that a little bit because I realized right now that the most benefit of those acceleration programs you can get when you just have the idea and nothing else. Because I help you on how to run a business, how to start things, and really make the right decisions from the beginning, which will help you accelerate because you don't have to figure stuff out yourself.
Yes. Oh, wow. So you will recommend people to try to join earlier. But then the pitch is harder, though, when you don't have a product.
Well, it depends. Here they also allow companies with just an idea to enter. And I think that they also have like a special program for that. Just people with an idea and nothing else. And they learn about different aspects of doing business. And they're also connected to maybe co-founders if they are by themselves. So,
wow, that's good.
They actually promote joining on the very earliest stage.
Okay, that's really lucky that you were able to access such a program.
Yeah, it's very beneficial for us.
How did you hear about it? Was it like another entrepreneur that told you about it?
I think I learned from it from, let's say, the Dutch entrepreneurial media. We have a few websites which write about entrepreneurship. So I think I learned from it from that source. But since the Netherlands is very small, if you are just already a little bit in the entrepreneurial community, then you would learn about all that stuff.
You will know about it, yeah.
We have a very small country.
Yeah, but it's the difference is you read about it, but then you applied. You did something about it.
That's right. Yeah, that's correct.
So I guess for the audience who's listening, it will be very important to check if there are any accelerator program or boot camp sometimes, or they all have different names around them, and just apply and just go through the process of applying, because it's a good process as well, just to to start pitching.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Do you attend some of the pitches on the other side of the table now, like as a judge or advisor or something?
Yeah, I do. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I still pitch myself. Sometimes I'm invited as a judge. And it's just interesting because I have that experience of being a pitcher, but also having the experience of being a judge. So kind of understand both sides of the table, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's really fun.
So as a judge, what do you expect from the pitcher?
Really, I will. Well, totally depending on what they're pitched for, but in general, I would always look at, okay, is the idea, is it scalable? And is the entrepreneur capable of scaling the idea? And does the entrepreneur have like the vision and the ambition to do so? Is he going for it for 100%, or is it just like 50%? Those kind of things I try to get a hold of in when people are pitching for me in, let's say, a business competition, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, that's cool. That's thanks for sharing. So you told us like a pretty good story. Like it seems like everything went almost according to the plan. Did you have any tough time in between that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, a lot of tough times. And I think one noticeable one is that, okay, we had like a business running and some small things were happening after 12 months of running Bird Control Group. But how to proceed, it was very difficult. And I didn't have like a real plan. It was just, okay, we just go for it and go how it goes every day instead of having a plan to scale. So actually, my mentors helped me a lot with making that business plan, really. Okay, well, what are we going to do in the coming 2 to 3 years? And that was very helpful because in the end, when your plan is finished, it's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And then it's easy because that's what you're going to do instead of don't knowing what to do.
But it's tough though, like to make a 3-year plan when, you're 19 and you just started the business. Like it's to make you realize that you're going to be around for another 3 years, at least in that business.
I agree. It's quite hard. And it depends on the level of detail you put in a plan. But for me, the first question was really, okay, who are you going to be to whom. So are you going to be like the technology provider? Are you going to build your own products, or are you going to be a service provider? In which markets are you going to be active? Those kind of questions, that was already very helpful to get those answers. So who are you going to be to whom?
You were happy to have such support in moments where you just didn't know, well, you didn't know what to do really, in the sense of, why think of a plan? And it's funny because if you would have been in a business school and especially in a class of entrepreneurship, like the first answer would have been make a business plan.
Yeah, but I think, that's quite difficult. The first thing is like seeing an opportunity. And then, that's having that opportunity is just a very small part of the business plan. But I actually started off with no business plan. I thought, hey, this is like an opportunity. Let's go for it. And I didn't thought about, we're going to make a big company and we're going to hire a lot of people. And I had no idea about that.
But you did go and talk to your customer, did customer validation with the farmers, and so which is part of the plan, really.
That's right, but it was like unscheduled customer validation. It was just, okay, we have an opportunity, so we need customers, and let's talk to the customers. So if I would look back to it, it's good to have, let's say, that process in mind of knowing, okay, I got this idea, but now we're building like a minimum viable product, and then we're going to validate our customers, and then we're going to do this and that, and we're going to build a team. And then now I actually learned by doing that structure. But it is good to have it in mind, to have that roadmap of a company. And like the lean startup methods from Eric Ries could help you a lot with that.
Yes, you're not the first one to mention it. I'll put the link to the books in the show notes. You said you're learning by doing. Is there other ways for you to learn? Like, do you read books or blogs, or do you listen to podcasts? Or how do you think you learn?
I learn by doing. I learn by talking to a lot of other entrepreneurs, and sometimes I read a book. I have like one book which was very beneficial for me. It's called Venture Deals. I will post it down here. And it's really a book about the background of doing business transactions, of, let's say, investments, selling your company, allowing other people to join the company if like stock options.
Did you read that when you were thinking of selling your first businesses?
No, I actually read it just after the first investment we got as a company.
I
hoped I read it way earlier. It's a bit of a technical book. It's a book learning you about the different aspects of doing a transaction, which can be an investment, but also an exit of your company.
So I never heard of it. So Venture Deals, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll look for it. So one of the new questions I've got is, what do you think universities should do to support student entrepreneurs? And so we talked about your study advisor. We talk about the fact that elite athletes have their own programs. What do you think universities should do to help people like you, like all the people in the audience?
I think they might also have to think of some sort of special program. I do realize I actually thought about it for quite a while. It's difficult to make up the boundaries of those programs because as an athlete, you can have like a professional status in your sport. But as an entrepreneur, it's very difficult to have such a status.
Yes.
But I do think it's important to maybe what we have in the Netherlands is like you can apply for like a minor, like a program within your degree, and you can actually decide to go for like an entrepreneurship minor, which means you can start your own company. And I think that's already very beneficial.
Okay. So you can start a company.
Yeah, you can. If you already have one, you can just use that for that program. So you can keep working at your company, but at the same time, write down those experience and those lessons to get like your bachelor degree.
Okay, that's awesome. That's really good. Is that in all universities?
Not in all universities. A few have it. I think it also depends on the subjects you do. So I'm studying business, which has such a program. But I think other study like more into languages or chemistry, I don't think
that becomes harder. But so did you choose that program?
Yeah, I did.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. So you get more credits.
That's right.
It's funny you talk about, athletes have a status and student entrepreneurs don't have a status. In France, just, next door to you, the government started student entrepreneur status where you apply to become one of them. It's kind of your entrepreneurship minor program, but any students in any, in languages, in IT can apply now. So we've interviewed Mary last week, and that program allowed her to take 6 months off and go to an accelerated program in the US. And the university was okay with it. It counted as an internship for her, but she was running her own business. But I think it's that notion of having a proper status, as you said, like you're recognized as a student and entrepreneur at the same time. You're not just something else. It's funny that you mentioned.
No, I think it's very good. It's very good to have such a status and to really help that, because basically the entrepreneurs of today are going to create a lot of jobs in the future, which is very, very beneficial for society.
I was just preparing for my presentation, and I was just giving numbers. So the recent studies show that up to 33% of the growth of the economy is due to entrepreneurs, basically the activity of entrepreneurs. Other numbers were companies created by MIT students, a revenue of more than $12 trillion. Like, this is crazy. Just the MIT. I mean, I've got numbers and numbers and numbers like that. The thing is a question of recognition. Athletes, we understand because they get gold medal at the Olympic Games, and that helps the recognition of our country. But athletes, we don't see how. Entrepreneurs, we don't see how they give us recognition.
Oh, I agree. It's important to recognize that, because sometimes they run the economy.
Yes, that's right. But it's hard to get people to understand that. But it's getting that way. There's we've interviewed. I've interviewed also the Institute of Entrepreneurship of the University of Utah, and they've invested in a $45 million building where the students sleep, eat, and work at their business on campus, and then they can go to their studies as well. But there's 400 students who can study there, and you've got recording studio, design studio. You've got they're trying to mix lots of people with different backgrounds, and that's just to recognize that if you put all those student entrepreneurs together and you allow them to continue their study and you give them credits, they're going to do amazing things. So it's getting there. It's very, very, very slow. It's getting there. Or there's competition. I think I got your name through the Global Student Entrepreneurship Award, right? So there are competition. How did you hear about that competition?
I was actually invited by the Dutch chapter to join the competition, because there were first national competitions. And if you would win the national competition, then you could go abroad. But I think those things are very good, because they will give recognition to the entrepreneurs. And I think that's just so important.
Yes, I agree. How was it to meet other student entrepreneurs? Not from.
It's good. It's very interesting to hear that entrepreneurs from total other side of the world have the same, kind of struggles within a company. And also, then you meet like entrepreneurs from Indonesia or even from Nepal or China. And then you realized, we should be quite happy, really, really happy about the environment which we grow in and which we can do business. Because if you would meet like entrepreneurs from Africa, like these very simple things you need as running a business is already quite difficult down there. So I just had they should receive extra recognition for that, because they're in a very hard environment. And we as being entrepreneurs in the Western world kind of have it easy.
Yeah. Like I've interviewed Samuel that was at the same competition as you, and he's from Zimbabwe, and he was saying exactly that. He goes, I was doing shares transfer, but we don't have online payment. So you have to physically go there. You're like, what? So no, you're right. You're absolutely right. That makes us realize that we have it easier. All right, this was really good, Steinar. Thank you very much for your time. Is there anything you want to share with the audience? Any last advice that you want to give?
Well, really, what benefited me the most is really get into that entrepreneurial community and try to talk to a lot of entrepreneurs. And if it feels right, try to talk to them a bit more as more of a mentorship. That's really important. Get out of your office and start to talk to fellow entrepreneurs. That's important.
Excellent. I'm just taking notes. Excellent. Oh, well, thank you very much for your time.
Welcome.
And we'll follow your progress in the following months.
Thanks. Thank you, Julian. Have a nice day.
Thank you.